Folks, people are being annoying on the internet again. What a surprise. And again, huge surprise, it's about a trans person. Now, for once, it's not actually a real person, it's about a trans character. This video is going to be a bit more ranty than a normal, video essay, kind of like the video on, the Stranger Things fandom and bigotry, because I'm upset again, and I feel like this isn't an instance that really needs a lot of evidence. I will still put some up, but I don't have a script, I don't have any notes like I usually do. My setup is super messy because I'm in the process of moving, but here goes. So the Amazing Digital Circus finale released semi-recently. It came out in theaters a bit before it came out on YouTube, and I didn't watch it until it came out on YouTube because movie theaters are very overwhelming. And I cried a lot while watching it, especially during the scene where Jax comes out to Ribbit. That was really beautifully done, I think. And yes, there are obviously issues with the show and the finale. The pacing was a little bit wonky, the order of events could have been better, but this is what they could do budget-wise, and what they did with what they had was really amazing. And I feel like the scene was pretty damn explicit. Jax is coming out. Ribbit puts her bow on Jax's ear, says, "Your secret's safe with me," and that's after having, a conversation about Jax's experience with masculinity and the ways in which she feels trapped in it. And you also will notice I am using she, her pronouns exclusively for Jax. Gooseworks made a post and said you can use he, him, or she, her for Jax. I personally prefer using she, her because, again, it's pretty damn obvious that she is trans. And a lot of people are just fully denying that. I can see, before the release of episode 9, people thinking that it's just a headcanon, it's just an interpretation, there are many different ways to interpret everything you watch and read, right? But with episode 9 being released, there's really no way to describe people's refusal to accept Jax as being trans as anything other than transphobia and transmisogyny. And if you're unaware, transmisogyny is hatred specifically towards trans women. Jax's story is obviously very tragic. She came from abuse, and she continued the cycle. And that is unfortunately something that's very common, not just for queer people, but all victims of abuse. It's a very common issue that people who go through that experience. I can think of tons of people in my own life who are abusive or have abusive tendencies because of what they went through and because of what was normalized for them, what was pushed upon them, and even as a defense mechanism against things. And I think a big thing for Jax, a big reason why she is so abusive and awful, is that she's using it as a defense mechanism. And you can see that throughout the show, not just in episode 9, but throughout all of it. She is defending herself with her mean jokes, with her pranks, with all of the assholery. And I think it's very sad that a lot of people are denying this. And a big reason I think they are denying this is because accepting this would also mean, at least in part, accepting that she is a trans woman. And a lot of people really do not want to do that. If Jax were a real person, she would definitely be a bad person. But she's not real. And acting as though her actions make it okay to, be transphobic, even to a fictional character, that's shitty, and that's just showing that you are a transphobe. Gooseworks also posted a picture of Jax with long hair and I believe a bow in her hair. I'll throw up the picture. I believe she posted it on Blue Sky. That's unimportant. and it was captioned, "Jax if she wasn't a huge piece of shit," which is both really funny and also pretty sad. You know, estrogen could have saved her and all that. And people who have seen this image are still attempting to deny it. I actually saw somebody genuinely trying to say something along the lines of, this is, Goose said, if she weren't a huge piece of shit, which means that if she were a woman, she wouldn't have been awful, and that doesn't mean that she's trans, though. Doesn't mean that at all. Which was so wild, like... The amazing digital cope. At this point, it is not subtext. It is just what is happening in the show and what the creator has confirmed multiple times over, and people are still denying it and saying, oh, it's just an interpretation, it's just your way of seeing things, my way of seeing things, as if they aren't spewing a bunch of transphobic nonsense, and also a lot of stuff that's very harmful to abuse survivors, saying that if you ever react poorly after being abused, you're a terrible person, or that you can't be mean after being abused. This is more of like needing everybody to be a perfect victim, which is something I just hate so much. And of course, it is projected onto a trans character, a trans woman, again, because women, especially trans women, are so often the targets of this kind of bullshit. I don't really think that the Phantom deserved Jax, the character that she is. Y'all couldn't handle her. I'm just gonna be real, you couldn't. And Gooseworks said that as well, which I think is really funny. Yeah. People misinterpreting this scene on purpose with Ribbit and the bow and Isn't She Lovely playing makes me so upset. Because I get that not everybody wants to analyze every piece of media that they're watching like I do. That's just something me and a few other people who like to do that do. It's fun to analyze media for me, for some people that just want to watch the show. But do you really need everything spoon-fed to you? Do you really need for Jax to look at the camera and say, I am a transgender woman. I want to be a girl. I am a woman. Like, that's not good writing. That's lazy writing, first of all. And it just shows that you have no faith in the audience, which I guess is kind of warranted based on the reaction. But for the people who did actually get it, I think it would have just annoyed us. Jax is a cautionary tale. And I am very glad that Leroy, her human real-world counterpart, is doing better. It seems as though she is doing pretty well, honestly, based on, like, stuff that Gooseworks has talked about. Goose said that were Leroy to come out, she would probably use the name Lee, which I think is really cute, and I really love the name. I have kind of, like, a personal connection to it because it's my avo's name. I really love Jax and her storyline and what she represents, how she's a cautionary tale against repression and abuse, and how it can affect people. And I really wish that more people were able to see that and engage with this media in a meaningful and transformative way instead of just deny, and just absolutely steamrolling anybody who tries to tell them otherwise. Jax is a trans woman. Denying that means you're either entirely media illiterate, for which there are classes, or a transphobe, for which there are not classes, but hey, maybe try and learn some stuff anyway. There are tons of videos about queer people you can watch. Tons of videos about gender expression, trans people as a whole. I really wish that people were better. And I know that this might seem like a bit of an overreaction. It's just a cartoon. It's just a cartoon. It is a cartoon, but people's reactions to it are indicative of a larger issue within the world. That issue being transphobia primarily, and also the way that people treat victims. Victims of not just abuse, but any kind of violence or hardships. I really hope you, I guess not enjoyed, but I hope you found this video informative, or at least entertaining. I also hope that you enjoyed the Amazing Digital Circus finale. I know I did. I had a great time watching it. I thought it was pretty well done. And I really hope for any trans person out there, especially those who relate to Jax and her storyline and her situation, I truly wish the best for you. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.